To keep things simple, I'm going to boil down data breaches to just three things: who's to blame, why you shouldn't listen to the standard advice, and what you should do instead. I made this video because of the big Office of Personnel Management data breach in 2015, but it applies to any breach of any size, now or in the future, because the pattern is always the same. The government or some large company loses an immense amount of data and they go directly into damage control mode. Of course, they care about losing consumer data, but what's foremost in their minds is shifting the blame to avoid public wrath. The practiced and calculated formula is to release a statement of how sorry they are and how seriously they take security, but they were just no match for those clever hackers. They'll recommend putting fraud alerts on your credit reports and might even offer free credit monitoring or insurance. With that, they'll wait for the furor to die down and hope that no one sees through the deception. What they don't want you to realize is that hackers aren't that clever on average. They don't have to be. The famous TJX data breach of 2007 that affected more than 40 million customers was a direct result of them putting wireless networks in their stores without bothering to enable the correct encryption option. That was bad, but we're only talking about credit cards. As for the OPM, their data breach gave hackers a 30-year history of millions of federal employees and veterans, including psych profiles, polygraph exams, security investigation reports, and more. Maybe it didn't affect as many people, but it affected them more deeply, more personally, and put them at more risk. All because the OPM didn't fix security problems auditors had been warning about for years. Maybe someday a breach will occur when nothing was done wrong, but until then, don't let them get away with shifting the blame. The first recommendation usually made is to get fraud alerts, which only work if the clerk or salesman who's running credit for the thief notices the alert and actually cares enough to check their information more carefully. Even then, they may be inexperienced, or the thief just has enough savvy to force their way through it. Given that and the short expiration date of 90 days, it's just not that good for protection. Monitoring talks a good game, but in the end, it's just a service that sends you alerts after an identity thief has done bad things to you. Maybe you feel better having the fast response anyway, but I've never had to pay a website to send me notifications and alerts before, so you do have to wonder where they get off charging so much in the first place. Insurance plans are insurance plans. They're not that great at the best of times, and the ID theft insurance companies have a history of being especially shifty. So either dig into the terms and get a lawyer to translate, or you're probably just throwing your money away. So enough of that, let's talk about what you should do. Once you're involved in a data breach, you need to stop the identity thieves from using your information. But how? The good news is that almost all forms of identity theft can be tied back to your credit reports. So if you make your credit reports harder to get to, stealing your identity becomes harder. Though the three credit reporting companies bitterly fought against protection laws for years, states passed credit security freeze laws one after another until they were finally available everywhere. Bottom line, if you lock your credit reports with a freeze, your risk of credit-based identity theft lowers immensely. To learn more, click the snowman, or you can click any of the other icons to learn more about why fraud alerts monitoring and insurance don't help. Either way, be sure to check out my data defense video to learn more about keeping your data out of the wrong hands in the first place.